Have you ever seen your dog coughing like it's choking? You won't believe the reasons behind this behavior. Stick with us to learn why your dog is coughing, what could be causing it, and what it could mean for your pup. Get ready to be shocked by what might be causing this cough. I'm Marques, a vet here at Pet Base, and we provide important facts to help you look after your pet's welfare. If you're new here, remember to subscribe and hit the bell so you won't miss any updates from us. Today, we're delving into the whys and hows of doggy coughs and what could possibly trigger them. Heart problems. Yes, you read that right. Cardiac issues can make dogs cough. It's typically a dry cough after excitable playtimes or walk. Heart problems could be congenital, which means your pet was born with it, or acquired, developing later in life. Acquired heart problems are more common and typically happen in middle-aged to older dogs. These tend to be chronic, long-term conditions. The heart is responsible for sending oxygen to every cell and tissue in your pet's body. The heart and lungs are interconnected. The lungs provide the oxygen that's distributed throughout the body. So, if the heart isn't working properly, it could send too much or too little blood to the lungs to get oxygen. This can trigger symptoms like coughing, difficulty breathing, exercise intolerance, fainting, blue-tinged mucous membranes known as cyanosis, and even sudden death. Kennel cough or canine flu. This well-known kennel cough or doggy flu is a common reason for coughing in dogs. In medical terms, it's known as infectious tracheobronchitis. Why is it called kennel cough? It's highly contagious among dogs. We frequently see it in situations where lots of dogs are gathered together, such as in doggy daycare, dog parks, or kennels. It's an acute disease that can hit quickly with nose-to-nose contact or contact with an infected pet's secretions enough to transmit it. This disease starts becoming more common at our vet clinics when winter comes. It begins with occasional sneezing, then progresses to coughing that intensifies whenever the dog gets excited. There are two scenarios for this flu. One is a simple infection by just one agent and a good immune response by the pet. When that's the case, it will usually clear up on its own within 1 to 2 weeks. The second scenario is when the pet already has a weaker immune system and secondary infections by other bacteria or viruses occur. That's when the symptoms can worsen, possibly leading to nasal and eye discharge, fever, and lethargy. It could even develop into pneumonia, which further worsens the pet's health condition. Treatment will depend on the specific health condition of the pet. It might be a simple infection or there might be secondary infections. Remedies could range from cough suppressants to anti-inflammatories or even antibiotics. Prevention is an option for this disease. Prevention strategies include immunization, keeping the pet's environment clean and well ventilated. But remember, although immunization doesn't mean your pet won't catch the disease, it can deter serious symptoms and decrease the chance of transmission from one dog to another. There are already various types of dog flu vaccines out there. The injectable type is the most common and well known, but there are also nasal and oral versions. The oral one is drops that go straight into the mouth, and the nasal one is a liquid squirted into the nose. Talk to your vet to figure out when your pet should be vaccinated and which type of vaccine would be best. Infectious respiratory diseases. Besides the flu, dogs can get other types of infections that affect their respiratory system. The culprits can be viruses, bacteria, and even parasites. In basic terms, your dog could start coughing, have a hard time breathing, runny nose, and sneezing. Your pup may also seem weaker, less energetic, and overall not feeling well. If you see your dog showing some of these signs, it's vet time. This helps find out what's making your pal sick and figure out the best fix, a condition where the windpipe gets narrow or collapses. This can cause a dry cough in dogs. It may sound like they're choking, but it's really because their windpipe is narrower. The windpipe, or trachea, is like a tube that takes air from the nose to the lungs. It's made of cartilage which allows it to expand or contract. Basically, it's a hollow organ that air goes through, but in some dogs it gets narrower. Kind of like a tube. Imagine a straight pipe suddenly getting narrow, so the air has a harder time getting down to the lungs. The airflow gets all messed up, which leads to the coughing. This can happen when the dog is born with a narrow trachea, or it can be caused by an injury. The born with it kind mainly happens in flat-faced dogs like pugs, Shih Tzus, English bulldogs, and French bulldogs. These dogs are known as brachycephalic breeds. It might happen in other breeds, but it's less common. The ones who get it from an injury are usually dogs that have been choked by their leash. This can happen when they pull too hard during walks, or when using certain types of collars at the groomers. These collars are used to keep the dog from getting too rowdy, but if the dog falls while wearing one, it can cause some real damage. They can cause harm to your dog's health. The only actual fix for a cough caused by a narrow windpipe is surgery. That involves putting a metal ring where the trachea is narrow. This way, the narrow part can expand, letting air pass through like it's supposed to. But this operation can cost a lot, and you need a very good vet. Not all pet owners can swing the cost or find a vet who can do it. If surgery is out of the question, vets can manage the condition. This means just making the dog more comfortable. They can give supplements to help the cartilage and advise you to keep your pup calm, as excitement can make the cough worse. A calm environment is also suggested. Plus, these dogs should not use choke collars anymore and should be in a well-ventilated room. If they start panting to cool down, this can cause a coughing fit. Speaking of choking, let's talk about foreign objects. This happens when an object gets stuck in the respiratory tract. This could partially or fully block the dog's breathing. It can be a toy or even a piece of their food. This usually happens with dogs who like to destroy toys or who eat very quickly. They could swallow the wrong thing, and instead of it going to the stomach, it goes to the respiratory tract. Most of the time, this is a big emergency. If the foreign object completely blocks the airways, your dog could die within minutes. The best course of action is prevention. If you know your dog eats too fast, get a maze-like feeder so they have to eat slower or bigger food pieces that they have to chew on before swallowing. If you see your dog chewing apart a toy, take it away ASAP so they don't swallow anything. If they do choke on something, coughing is the first reaction. But if the object doesn't come out, you need to get to a vet immediately. As I said before, it could be a matter of life or death. Wrapping up, if your dog is coughing, get them to a vet. They'll figure out why your dog is coughing. We've seen that some causes can be simple, but others can be really serious and even deadly.